Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Reborn Dolls with Karen. We're back with Maggie and she looks like this now. She's looking really fantastic. Her lips are really looking good. Her nails look equally as good. And I believe she's ready to take some layers now. I'm not really sure if I'm fully satisfied with the color of her face, but we're going to move on and see how she looks as we paint her. We can always add more later. It's not one of those one and done things, you know, you can add to it. So anyway, we're going to start with our lightest color, which is the 05. We always start with our lightest color. Well, I do anyway. Some people don't. Well, other than blushing, let's put it that way. Other than the undertones, when we start putting the layers on, we're supposed to really start with the lightest one. Okay, so here we go. We're going to wipe my hands again. I did finally put some baby wipes on my table, but you know. Oh, I gotta get some sponges. I'm getting a new one of these. This one's had it. After a certain length of time, I think they're just too icky to use anymore. I'll probably tear that one to be my new one to use. And I have a couple more that are a little bit lighter. This one also, too bad to use. Look, it's just very deep into the sponge over here on the side. You can't really, I mean you can, but you end up with something very, very short if you try to take any of that one off, because you have to cut it with the scissors. You can't just rip it with your hands. So I'm gonna get a new one for that. And I'm gonna make this worse one, this one, into my new applying sponge. I'm just going to tear this top part off to make it raggy like that. And there we have a sponge to use. See, we don't waste that one. And I think there's one even lighter than that in here, but I can't see it. I don't know where it's at. While I'm in here, I'm going to throw some of these other colors of sponges away too. After, there it is. No, that's that other color. I think. Yeah, it is. This must be it. It's so dark over here because I lost one of my lights. I have one on each side here and then one up there on the ceiling and one under this shelf to give me plenty of light here. And this one over here broke and so, or quit working, let's put it that way. And they're LED, so they just burn out after a while and you can't replace the bulbs. You just throw them out. They're cheap, so by the time you bought more bulbs to go in them, it would be the price of the lamp, the whole light fixture. So anyway, okay, so we'll apply with this one. Then we'll dab first with this one because, well, I like to dab first with this one, this really hard one. And then we'll move down these other two sponges. Okay, we're ready. All right, so we're gonna mix. And then we're gonna put some on our sponge. When it's fresh like this, you gotta put a little bit of extra on there because it's gonna sort of soak into the sponge a little bit. There we go. We'll probably have to reload it a lot. I changed my table. I don't want to get it dirty. Like I'm ever gonna make it through this doll without getting it dirty. What a joke. Anyway, we're gonna apply. She's got very deep crevices on her face. And even so, we'd apply on the face with the brush anyway, but we want to make sure we get way down into those little crevices on her face because it's very deep. We're going to put some in her nose as well. And in her mouth and all over her chin and everywhere like that. And make sure she's covered real good. We don't want any spots that don't get paint. Then we're going to go all across this little crevice it goes all around her neck. Now we're going to sponge all those places again. We want to make sure we get the sponge effect in as many places as possible. We want to make sure we're not missing any spots. Okay, now I'm going to use this one first. It's that harder thicker, denser one. That's about as good as I can get it with that one. I'm gonna now do it with this drier one. We want her paint to be close to dry. And we don't want to leave too much on her. Make sure all these crevices get pounced. This is a good time to use your magic brush. Just get down in these little crevices and make sure no little puddles are sticking in there. She has a lot of crevices on her face. There we go. That should do it. Now if I can get my fingers out of her head. There we go. Now I'm gonna set her down over here and let her start to dry a bit while we work on her arms and legs. So here we go. I'm gonna go on and reload my sponge because, well, the paint is soaking way down into the sponge already. Okay, here we go on her feet. Brush them as well because of the toes and stuff and the crevices around the toes and things like that cause them to be a little hard to pounce with a sponge. So we want to make sure we pounce in between all of these little toes. No cruddy stuff. Our babies don't crawl in the mud. Well, they sometimes look like they do. So we want to make sure they don't. And we're just going to pounce her legs a bit here with this. Making sure we get everywhere. Now, if the back of the knee is too deep of a bend, this is not, then you're going to have to use your brush to brush back there as well, because we want to make sure that area is covered. When you have a little area like that you can't reach with your sponge and you don't get it with your brush, it shows at the end. It shows very, very much at the end. And you're going, oh my goodness, that's terrible looking. I didn't swipe that with my brush. And you'll see it and you won't like it. And so we're gonna make sure we like it. We're gonna paint everywhere. I'm coming along with my rooting. I've got, let's see, one in the bedroom I'm working on, and then I have Alma, who still needs hers done too, and I'll be caught up. But before I ever get to Alma, Maggie will be finished, so she'll be up there. I don't mind having a head or two up there, because if I run out of something to do while I'm watching TV, like say I'm 3/4 of the way done with the doll's head and I go in there to watch TV tonight, I'll finish it and I won't have anything to do with my hands. I just can't sit there and watch TV. It's weird. I have to be doing something. I call it multitasking, but it's occupying my hands. It's what it's doing. I just can't keep my hands idle. If I don't have anything else to do, I'm scrolling my phone or looking at a magazine or something while I'm watching TV. I just don't sit there and watch TV. It's weird, but I know most people do. But a lot of the things that I've watched, I've actually seen before. And so I already pretty much know what's happening. I can listen to it. If it's a movie I've already seen, or even if it's a movie I haven't seen, you can tell by the way they're talking and stuff what they're doing most of the time. Now, when it gets to a real exciting part or a part you can't tell what they're doing, I stop and I watch it. But most of the time I'm just listening to it. And I just can't sit there and stare at the TV like that. I just feel too idle. I don't know. It's weird. It feels unnatural to me. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but I just don't like doing it. Now this knee is a little more bent, so we're going to swipe in the back of that knee. As soon as I've pounced the rest of the leg, I'm going to go back and swipe that knee because I'm just not sure I'm getting all the way down into the knee, back of the knee. And I don't want a big white stripe back there. So we're just going to, I like to dot it on like this instead of just swiping. I did say swipe, but I meant dot it on. I didn't mean what I said. Now the same thing is true with taking it off. You have to make sure that the edge here gets down in that crack like that and pounces it. Otherwise you might have a very dark swipe across the back of the knee because you didn't swipe any, you didn't pat any off. Really all I'm doing is drying the doll. Mostly you'd be surprised how quickly paint thinner separates from paint. It's already doing it in the jar. Every time I put my brush in there, I mix it. And yet, I just took it out and it's already separating. If I gave it another minute or two, all the paint thinner would be at the top and the paint would be at the bottom. So once you put it on the doll, the same thing is really happening. You can't really see it or tell it because it's so thin. But the paint thinner is what you're really dabbing off, I think. Mostly. You do get some color, but it's excess. It's not going to keep your doll from being colored. These darling little hands. Oh my goodness, I just love them. And those are the cutest legs I could find to go with it. I had been saving her, and she had Aubrey's legs. I think I mentioned this before. I swapped limbs with my friend because I wanted these cute little Celeste limbs. They're so cute. And if Celeste was still in production, I'd be buying multiple kits from her just to get these hands. I know they're 3/4, but you know what? I don't care. This is a cute, cute hand, and I just love it. And once they get their clothes on, you really can't tell they're 3/4 dolls. You can't tell at all. And it's so darling looking. It just makes her look so, so good. She's kind of got a chunky head, but her limbs were so skinny. I guess it was so they could fit on that torso. They have to be a certain size. And I didn't like it because it just looked odd to me. Those really, really skinny arms and legs with her chunky head just didn't go together to me. And I saw these Celeste limbs and I was going, oh my goodness, those are cute. I had a Celeste, and I think I might have gave that one Celeste some Maggie limbs. I wanted her, I don't think, no, Celeste does not take a torso, but the Celeste I made, I gave her the torso too, I think. I'm not sure. I had so many Maggie kits, it's ridiculous. I've sold one already, and I have one in the bedroom that doesn't have a torso. Now I have this one, and she doesn't have a torso. So yeah, I sold one, but it didn't have a torso because I gave it to Celeste, and I sold Celeste, and then Maggie has, oh crap, I can't even think. The one I have in the bedroom was a Maggie also, and I made it into a Maddox because I left off the torso, and then I put the torso into a box and sold it for that one. And this one, I might have gave it to Angel. The Angel has a torso, but the Angel I had came from an individual. And she did not send the torso, and I didn't even really realize it until later when I got the kit out. I just get the kits and put them in the closet. And then I got the kit out, and I go, I think this doll's supposed to have a torso, because I had never done an angel before. So I looked it up, and sure enough, it was supposed to have a torso. So I made that one with a Maggie torso as well, I think. I'm not sure. I can't remember, because I only sold one torso. I had a box, and I was putting all my extra pieces that I wasn't going to use in there. And one of the things I put in there was Maggie's limbs. I hate them, and I'm never going to... I didn't see any reason to save them when I don't like them, and I'm probably never going to choose them to use. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just throw them in this box. And I just kept putting things in the box. And when I got a good bit of stuff in there, one thing I got was a kit I couldn't even identify. It must have been one of the McPherson kits. I don't know. McPherson a while back did some kits where they called them boo-boo kits, and oh my goodness, they were such boo-boos. A lot of people in the doll group were like thrilled over the ones they got. I hated the ones I got. I ordered several because they were just $15 if you wanted a head, and $20 if you wanted the head and the limbs. Well, they just took heads and just gave them generic limbs. The numbers on the limbs did not match the numbers on the heads. They just gave them any old limbs, literally any limbs. And sometimes the limbs just didn't look like they even went with that doll at all. The vinyl was a different color, and the limbs looked like they were either too big or too small. And an extreme amount of them had 1/4 limbs. I said, I'm not even going to try to make these. And they had the goofiest looks on their face. They were just weird kits. And I don't know where they got them. They were filthy dirty. And I don't know. I just couldn't. And so I just resold them because I didn't want to fool with them. And anyway, this kit that I got from this individual, she wouldn't break the set. I believe it had 3 or 4 kits in it. I can't remember. But that one was in there too. And she said, I don't know anything about that kit. It was my cousins or somebody in her family who had left them to her when she died. And she didn't want them. She didn't make dolls, so she was going to sell them. And so she put them up for sale, and I wanted the other kits. I believe there was, I can't remember for sure, but I believe there was one in there that was kind of rare, and I wanted it real bad. And so I got it, and I said, I'm going to resell these kits I don't want. And there was, I'm not sure if I got them 2 little tiny 10-inch doll kits from her or not. But I had 2 little tiny 10-inch doll kits. And I'd made those kits before, and oh, they're murder to get the eyes in those tiny little things. And I just knew I didn't want to make them. Plus, you can't find clothes to wear, for them to wear, to dress them in. They either have to wear something way too big, or you have to make some special order. And then nobody wants to buy them. They want, because they're tiny, they think they ought to get to pay like $30 or $40 for them, not realizing that these are discontinued kits and they're expensive to buy, as expensive as a bigger kit. And special bodies, I didn't have bodies, so I was going to have to get special bodies for them. I didn't want to. So I just said, I'm going to sell them too. So I put them in the box. And then I just kept adding things to the box. There was 1 Maggie torso and 2 sets of Maggie limbs. And I threw a few people, when you buy kits from them, they send you plugs and rings. I throw them in a box too. I'm not using them things. I don't even want to try to sort through them and find the right ones. And then they're murder to get on. I don't want to use them. And so I don't. And so I threw them in there. And then I had bought those pan pastels. I bought 2 of them, and they were expensive too. And 2 colors. And I tried to use them, and they're just super, super messy. And I just knew I wasn't going to use those again, so I put them in there. And there was some other things in there too. I don't remember what else. It was just like, here's some supplies for beginners or something. You can use the doll kit or the torso or the limbs from Maggie as practice pieces, or you can put them on dolls, whatever you want to do. And I sold it. It sold. And so I was happy. There, she's painted 2 times. That's one of the problems of putting your fingers inside the head to hold it. Sometimes it's hard to get your fingers back out. Put her back down. We'll just go right back down the line here and do these limbs again. I think her nails look really good. I'm not going to redo them. Not this time. It's always best if you do one layer at a time and bake. That's what I'm advising you to do. I do this because I don't know, I'm super experienced for one thing on making dolls. So I know exactly how dry it needs to be and exactly, what to do to, I'm not trying to say I'm greater than thou or anything like that. It's just that from experience, I just know what you can do and not do. And for your best results, baking every layer will give you the best results. So if you want the very, very best results, I'm going to tell you to bake every layer. But you can stack layers. Don't stack different colors, though. You won't like it. I mean, if you just have a tiny spot of one color, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. But, you don't want to paint the whole leg flesh color and then turn around and paint it blush on top of that. You'd just be defeating the purpose. We want each layer to be permanent before we add another color to it. I mean, I do. I mean, I'm not going to say I've never done it, but I am going to say I didn't like the results. And so it makes it much more chalky to stack layers. And if you're getting chalky on your doll, you're going to want to not stack your layers. Usually chalky means too much paint is being applied to the doll. If it comes out chalky looking, you've got too much paint in your mixture probably. Or you're just putting it on too thick. I don't know. I just know that too much paint makes chalky. So usually that's what it is. It'll just look very, very funny. Chalky color looks odd. That's all I can say. We want smooth, pretty layers. And by removing our excess, we're also removing the chances of a chalky color. A chalky finish, rather. The color's not chalky. It feels powdery, so in a way, it feels a little chalky, but it doesn't look chalky. And once you bake, it doesn't feel that way anymore. So I've yet to have a chalky finish doing it this way. I use thinner coats now. I used to use it much, much darker because I only wanted to put one layer on my doll. And it sometimes came out chalky. Too dark just doesn't look good anyway. I don't know how to explain that 2 layers can be the same darkness together as 1 layer, and it'll look better in the 2 layers. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to even know how that happens, but get my fingers out of that. But it just does. It just looks better. Look how good her nails look. They're just perfect. I love the way they look. And she is going to have darker hands. You'll notice that even when she's finished. But once she's on her body, it will be separated from each other enough where you won't notice it. It won't be obvious. Now, if you're just looking for it, you'll probably see it, but it won't be super noticeable, is what I'm trying to say. The average person's not going to go, I believe her hands are darker than her feet. There's such a separation between the hands and the feet that you're just not going to notice it. And the arms and legs usually end up a little bit lighter than the face anyway, because we don't put the amount of blush on the arms and legs that we put on the face. So the face looks darker anyway on dolls. So if the arms are a little bit darker than normal, well, that's just going to get them closer to her face color, I think. I just don't neutralize 99% of the time. I mean, feel free to do it yourself, but I don't want to take all that time and all those layers. I mean, you have to put multiples on. And really and truly, even when you're stacking layers, you can't stack but 2, maybe 3 before you have to bake. I've stacked as many as 3, and it starts to get very chalky when you stack multiple layers. And so if you're going to have to do upwards of 10 to 15, maybe 20 layers to really neutralize a doll. It's going to be not easy. A lot of those master artists, one lady did 40 layers, she said. Can you imagine baking your doll like 20 times? She put 2 layers on at a time just to neutralize it. You haven't even started working on it yet. You're just neutralizing the color. She didn't like the color, so she put 40 layers to neutralize it. No, I ain't doing that. She'll just have a little bit darker arms. I don't have that kind of time. Or patience. It makes my craft feel like work instead of fun. If your craft isn't fun, it's work. If you're not having a good time doing it, it's work. That's why I try to teach an easier way. There, she is painted, fully painted. I'm not going to do her lips and nails because they look too good already. I don't think she needs it. So we're going to get her right straight in the oven. And where's my little clicker? I have this little thing. Oh, I have hiccups. I have this little thing that clicks on and off the camera, so I don't have to reach over and you see me punching it off like that. And that's why you hear that clicking sound when I say Happy Reborn, and then I click this thing until it goes off. It takes it 2 or 3 clicks before it'll cut the camera off. Anyway, I'm going to say it now. Please like, subscribe, and share, and Happy Reborning.